Tonight on CTV News, a BC business giant backtracks.
We can stand up against the billionaire class and win these hard-fought wins.
The Jim Pattison Group cancels the sale of a building to ICE. Protesters still take aim at another Vancouver company for its contract.
We're so stoked to be able to host 13 matches of the world's biggest event. And, obviously we've got to invest in our infrastructure to keep it up to date.
The ballooning FIFA World Cup budget, why taxpayers will be footing a much more massive bill, what they're expected to get in return.
Oh my God, they've just saved my life, my dog's life, my sheep's life.
And a state of emergency, a dramatic rescue of people and livestock as the flooding danger ramps up on Vancouver Island.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. After days of public backlash, the Jim Pattison conglomerate has had a change of heart. It announced the sale of a warehouse in Virginia to ICE will not go through. Today, protests had been planned against Pattison and a tech firm with an ICE contract. CTV's Dimitra Maragos joins us now. And Dimitra, the protest against Hootsuite did go ahead.
Yeah, Jung, that's exactly right. Protesters gathered outside of Hootsuite's headquarters, and it was in part celebratory as political leaders say public pressure enacted change, but they say there is still more to be done given the Canadian company's relationship with U.S. Customs and Immigration.
Public pushback continuing. More than 100 protesters gathering outside of Hootsuite headquarters in Mount Pleasant.
I'm not going to be a bystander.
Hootsuite under fire for the company's 3-year deal with ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, according to one worker who criticized the partnership online. In a statement earlier this week, Hootsuite CEO Irina Novoleski, the company's work with ICE does not include tracking or surveillance of individuals.
I thought it was important to come because Hootsuite as a Canadian success story, it's abhorrent that they're upholding what's going on in the States by working with ICE.
It was very disappointing and shocking, frankly, to a lot of Canadians to learn that Canadian businesses are engaging in facilitating the operation of ICE.
MP Jenny Kwan was asked if she would support a boycott of the company.
I would be on board.
The protest follows a major reversal by another BC company under fire. Jim Pattison Development was set to sell this massive warehouse in Virginia. The buyer, the U.S. government, which had plans to turn it into an ICE enforcement processing facility. After mounting public pressure and calls for boycotts of Pattison-owned grocery stores, Jim Pattison Development's releasing a very concise statement on Friday, which reads in full, the transaction to sell our industrial building in Ashland, Virginia will not be proceeding.
It shows that working people can stand against the billionaire class and force their hands on moral issues like this one.
But Lowen says the work isn't done and the pressure is still on Pattison.
Asking him to publicly disclose any investments that he has ties to the Trump administration, either on properties or other contracts, and to avoid any future contracts or relationships with ICE.
CTV News reached out to Hootsuite again today. They declined an interview, but add, we respect everyone's right to express their views peacefully and safely. Mi Jung.
Thanks, Dimitra. Breaking news, crews had to jump into action on Vancouver Island to rescue people and animals trapped by flooding. CTV's Lauren Pullen is following this in the Breaking News Center.
Mijang, highways have been washed out, vehicles submerged, and homes hit by waves of water. That water was so high in some areas, Comox Valley search and rescue crews actually used lifeboats to help people stranded inside flooded homes. Crews also came to the rescue of livestock, walking sheep through waist-deep water to lead them to safety.
Oh my God, they've just saved my life, my dog's life, my sheep's life. I am just blown away right this minute. I've lived here 15 years and I've gone through a lot of floods, but not one like this.
An evacuation order has been put in place for the Maple Pool campground in Courtenay, and a dozen other homes have also been evacuated. Highway 28 is shut down tonight as it was also overrun with water, and that actually means that some communities have been cut off. Rescue crews are continuing to go door to door tonight to ensure that everyone is safe, and there is an emergency response center set up for anyone needing help tonight, while emergency crews continue, of course, to keep a close watch on the situation and prepare for whatever could come next.
Yeah, and we'll be following the events happening on Vancouver Island and keeping track of that. Thanks, Lauren. Let's check in with Anna. Of course, they seem to be getting the brunt of the heavy rain and the flooding. What's the situation like there for the next few days?
Well, right now they are enjoying a break in between systems, so dry right now, but more rain on the way. There are flood warnings in place just around Comox, as Lauren mentioned. Also, flood watches for the central interior of Vancouver Island, as well as near Parksville. Everywhere else in yellow is under a high stream flow advisory for Vancouver Island and parts of the Sunshine Coast. So this is what it looks like right now on our storm tracker. Dry for Vancouver Island, but as we head through the overnight into tomorrow morning, that's when the next wave of heavy rain moves its way in across the board. A little bit of a break through the afternoon for the southern tip, but west coast as well as North Vancouver Island will continue to see heavy rain and strong winds as we head into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, with winds gusting to about 80 kilometers an hour. So another punch before it dries out of the way as we head into the next week.
Yeah, they're not out of the woods yet.
Definitely not.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Explore the endless possibilities at one of our 36 BC locations. Learn more at expediacruises.ca.
And we'll see rain for us as well as we head into the weekend. Those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Anne. The World Cup is just months away, and with soccer fans around the world punching their ticket to Vancouver, the price tag to host the games remains in question. CTV's Craig Krause spoke to Canada's Secretary of Sport today as BC prepares to host the World.
Work is underway inside BC Place as the clock outside ticks down to the opening FIFA World Cup match on June 13th.
We're so stoked to be able to host 13 matches of the world's biggest event. And, obviously we've got to invest in our infrastructure to keep it up to date.
Canada's Secretary of Sport, Adam Van Koeverden, was in Vancouver Friday, taking in the renovations to the stadium and other improvements as the country prepares to welcome the world. Preparation that comes with a price tag.
The province projects costs have risen to nearly $600 million, more than double the initial estimates from 2 years ago.
That was back in 2024. Recent provincial estimates show planning, staging, and hosting the 7 matches in Vancouver range between $532 million and $624 million. So we asked Van Koeverden where the number stands.
Well, in my meetings today with Vancouver and British Columbia officials, we're highlighting the federal contribution, which currently stands at about $320 million. And, we know that things get more expensive. And when we invest in, 2022 dollars, 2026 dollars are different because of inflation. So we're keeping up with the costs.
Referring to this as an investment for the future, estimating this year alone, the games will bring in a $2 billion GDP boost, along with thousands of jobs being created. The province confirming Friday that the net cost is between $85 million and $145 million after revenue generated. Vancouver alone is expected to see 350,000 fans flood the streets. And with concerns around ticket prices and access to games, a motion will go to council next week for BC Place to be open on non-match days for people to watch games from other host cities, along with the Peony Amphitheatre at no cost. A gesture, as taxpayers are footing much of the bill. Craig Krause, CTV News, Vancouver.
After months of speculation, Green Party councillor Pete Fry is making a run for the Vancouver mayor's chair in the upcoming civic election in October. The two-term councillor feels confident he has what it takes to dethrone incumbent mayor Ken Sim. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has more.
I'm announcing today that I'm intending to run for mayor.
As his second term on Vancouver City Council nears the end, Pete Fry is taking a run at the big chair.
I believe in this city and the power of the city and the people of the city and our ability and potential for greatness.
Fry, who was first elected in 2018, was officially endorsed by the Green Party to run for mayor back in October. This marks the first time in the Vancouver Greens history that the party has had a mayoral candidate on the ballot. Fry, who's one of the current mayor Ken Sims' loudest critics, says he hopes to bring a more team-based and transparent approach to City Hall.
The winner-takes-all style of politics in the city of Vancouver has been failing us. I believe that there's an opportunity for a more collaborative style of leadership.
Fry now joins a growing field of mayoral candidates, including Sim Karima Lam with the Vancouver Liberals and Rebecca Bly with Vote Vancouver.
You have an opportunity, if you're Pete Fry, to try to coalesce some of those progressive forces.
This political commentator says the left-leaning parties not working together could be costly for all of them.
You run the risk of having the anti-Ken Sim vote all over the place, which might allow Ken Sim to win the mayoral election with, let's say, 32% of the vote.
Fry said he's had some talks with the other candidates about a unified approach, but feels he's the one to lead the charge.
I do believe that I have the experience and the citywide reputation to carry this, and that's why I'm putting my name forward.
Fry says he'll be releasing his campaign platform in the near future. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
The BC Conservative leadership race is heating up as the latest candidate comes out swinging against some of her competitors. Former South Surrey White Rock MP Carrie Lynn Findlay launched her campaign last night, positioning herself as a reliable Conservative in a race dominated by ex-Liberals. Her pledges include bringing prices down, getting paychecks up, and she says keeping men out of girls' locker rooms. There are now 8 candidates vying for the BC Conservatives' top job, 3 of whom have ties to the former BC Liberal Party. A teacher in Delta is warning other dog owners after her pooch ingested an illicit drug while out for a walk. Veterinarians say it's a common problem and there are signs pet owners can watch for that are red flags for drug poisoning. CTV's Shannon Patterson has the story.
This 2-year-old husky named Nilak has a bad habit of eating paper products.
He'll get dropped paper towels and stuff that fall as we take dishes and stuff. And I've never really thought too much about it because it's always been fine.
So teacher Sarah Bell wasn't immediately concerned when Nilak gobbled up a discarded napkin during a walk in Delta.
He didn't even chew it. It was in his mouth and then down his throat. And that was the end of the story.
But when they got home and Nilak wouldn't stop bobbing his head, Belle knew something was wrong and she took him to the vet.
My dog, bless his heart, he is absolutely scared of the vet, phobia level scared. And so he had peed on the floor and, I'm really grateful to the vet because he sat on the floor and he used a syringe to suck up the pee so that he could do the drug test.
The result? Nilak had ingested cocaine.
So I'd like to say that I'm surprised, but it's actually something we see with relative frequency, especially in Vancouver. Even in the last week, our emergency at Canada West, we've had cocaine, amphetamines, and various other illicit drug toxicities, along with, more of the usual toxicities like THC, marijuana, that type of thing.
Dr. Edelman says Nilak's owner was smart to take him to the vet when she saw him bobbing his head like this.
Noticing those particularly neurologic signs or cardiac signs, dogs often will act very unusual. Their behavior will change. They might get twitchy. They might look like they're stumbling around.
Thankfully, Nilak only needed 12 hours of IV fluids to recover from his cocaine exposure.
And, it can be scary. And part of what I'm trying to spread to pet owners is that it happens. So be vigilant.
Preventing poisonings can be harder when dogs are prone to eating items off the ground.
Sometimes things happen. I know even with my own pets, I turn around and I'm like, what did you just eat?
As for Nilak and his paper eating habit,
the plan is to get a trainer involved to help me work it out because I'd like him to stop.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
Charges have been laid following a shooting in Surrey's Newton neighborhood earlier this month. CTV News obtained doorbell camera video of the moment several shots rang out just before midnight on New Year's Day. You can then see people running from the scene as police respond. A man was found inside a home with a gunshot wound and taken to hospital in stable condition. A second man was arrested at the scene. 49-year-old Chanchal Badwal is now facing multiple charges, including attempted murder. He is in custody pending his next court appearance next Friday. The incident is not believed to be connected to extortion. The province and BC Hydro are launching a competitive process to manage rising demand for clean power from AI and data center projects.
We believe that what we're announcing today, 400 megawatts, an open competition, the winners will be the ones that benefit British Columbians most. This is the way that you engage in economic development to protect ratepayers and to ensure that we get the maximum growth from our clean electricity.
The bidding is set to begin immediately, and 400 megawatts is at stake. Priority will be given to proposals that deliver the greatest economic, community, and environmental benefits. The province says the goal of the new process, enabled by legislation passed last fall, is to protect affordability and grid reliability for homes and businesses. What you need to know if you use the Patello Bridge when the week-long closure will get underway. Also ahead.
Gonna be a frosty snow girl. I'm gonna deck your house.
After making us laugh for 50 years, Catherine O'Hara has passed away. The incredible career of a comedy genius. When CTV News at 6 continues, stay with us. An early heads up for drivers in New Westminster and Surrey. The Patello Bridge and its new replacement will both be closed for about a week starting next Friday. This will allow crews to complete the connections to the roadways on either side of the new bridge. She made us laugh for more than 5 decades through so many beloved and often quirky characters. Catherine O'Hara was a comedic powerhouse who left her mark on the industry. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has her story.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
Considered a cultural trailblazer and the queen of improv,
Kevin!
Catherine O'Hara had a rare ability to give complex and often eccentric characters depth and humanity. A craft she mastered at the famed improv theatre Second City in her hometown of Toronto. She started there waiting tables.
Want to fall in love?
But in 1974, her love for acting would land her a role on the hugely successful Second City television.
Gonna be a frosty snow girl. I'm gonna deck your house.
She had no formal training, but O'Hara's enthusiastic spirit and determination quickly made her an award-winning star in Canada.
If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go insane and I will take you with me!
Propelling her to international fame with roles in hit movies from Beetlejuice.
Oh! What the? Are you all right?
To the mockumentary comedy film Best in Show.
I sense there's something in the wind.
And the cult classic animated movie The Nightmare Before Christmas.
My bag! It's gone!
But one of the roles she's best known for, Moira Rose in the hit show Schitt's Creek.
Crocodile bag, the one my mother gave me!
Her performance in the Canadian production was met with critical acclaim and garnered her multiple acting awards.
I would love to stand up here and tell you this was all just a walk in the cake, but it wasn't.
At one of her last appearances at TIFF just 4 months ago, O'Hara thanked her longtime friend and colleague, Eugene Levy.
When I think of my happiest days in this adventure and show business, I realize most of them have been with you.
An adventure in show business that spanned more than 50 years. O'Hara was 71. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Turbulent times for Bombardier after threats from Donald Trump. Also ahead, new documents reveal Canada denied late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein permission to visit Vancouver for a TED Talk. And
we're doing this in an effort to humanize a little bit ourselves.
And as Donald Trump continues to target Canada, the Washington state border town that's throwing a party for Canadians. That's ahead. Bombardier shares took a nosedive following a new threat from the U.S. president over certification and tariffs. Shares for the Canadian-made aircraft dropped as much as 9% at one point today. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more from Ottawa.
Bombardier's Global 8000 is billed as the world's fastest civil aircraft since the Concorde. But it could be grounded in the U.S. as President Donald Trump targets the Quebec company as apparent retribution over the certification of an American jet in Canada. On Truth Social, Trump wrote the U.S. was decertifying their Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified. Gulfstream is a direct competitor of Bombardier, and industry experts point out there are reasons Canada has been holding off.
The U.S. has certified the Gulfstream 700 and the 800 with exemptions to look at that aircraft not being certified for very cold weather operations because of fuel line problems.
In response to the threat of decertifying Canadian aircraft, Bombardier said in a statement, thousands of private and civilian jets built in Canada fly in the U.S. every day. We hope this is quickly resolved to avoid a significant impact to air traffic and the flying public. But it remains unclear if the U.S. president even has the authority to decertify aircraft.
The only way that the type certificate can be revoked is if there is a safety issue with the aircraft.
Now, this is just the latest salvo in the ongoing trade war, which has seen Trump ramp up his rhetoric against Canada following the Prime Minister's visit to China.
You can't look at China as the answer.
In a statement about the threat, Minister Steve McKinnon said Transport Canada officials are in communication with their U.S. counterparts, and the Canadian government is actively working on this situation. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A small U.S. city across the Juan de Fuca Strait from Victoria is trying to reassure Canadians they're still welcome despite trade tensions. A welcome event dubbed Port Angeles Loves Canada 2.0 is being planned for February 19th. It's a follow-up to last year's event when more than 200 Port Angeles residents greeted the first sailing of the Coho Ferry with Canadian flags and signs of support. City officials say the goal isn't to encourage travel to the U.S., but to show solidarity with Canadians.
We're doing this in an effort to humanize a little bit ourselves, right? You're watching news stories play out, the narratives that are playing. I don't feel represented in those narratives. I am disgusted and outraged with what is happening.
The latest data from Statistics Canada shows Canadian land travel to the U.S. fell more than 30% in 2025 amid historic trade tensions and Trump's threat to annex Canada. City leaders in Port Angeles say they did okay tourism-wise after shifting their marketing to domestic travelers. They're even encouraging Americans to go to Vancouver Island. Federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is currently speaking to his party in Calgary as he faces a leadership review tonight. Poilievre is actually just about to wrap up his speech outlining why he should stay on as party leader. MPs and delegates within the party were wanting to hear him talk about key issues, including affordability and crime. There is also an interest in hearing him talk about the ongoing Alberta separation movement.
I would love for Mr. Poilievre to talk a little bit about the succession and bring down the temperature and focus on ideas rather than the rhetoric.
Voting will be open for 2 hours once Poilievre finishes speaking. It is widely expected he will have significant support to stay on. Results will come very late tonight or early tomorrow. Newly released U.S. government documents show Canada denied entry to Jeffrey Epstein in 2018. The late convicted sex offender contacted the Canadian consulate in Los Angeles. He was seeking a temporary resident permit so he could attend a conference here in Vancouver. The consulate wrote back saying that Epstein was inadmissible because of his conviction of an indictable offense. The correspondence is among about 3.5 million pages of documents related to Epstein that were released by the U.S. Justice Department today. First, it was the record-breaking snowfall. Now Toronto residents are bundling up as temperatures plunge. Also ahead.
And I said, no, what are you, a Nazi? And he said, yes.
A tense encounter in a Montreal gym. What happened when a member saw someone wearing a Nazi symbol? What the gym did about it. That's ahead. The mission carrying Canadian Jeremy Hansen and 3 other astronauts around the moon has been delayed at least 2 days because of near freezing temperatures in the forecast. The first Artemis flight with the crew is now scheduled for no earlier than Sunday, February 8th. A crucial fueling test is now expected on Monday as the crew remains in quarantine in Houston. NASA has only a handful of days any given month to launch its first lunar crew in more than half a century. A deep freeze has taken over southern Ontario with wind chill values hitting -30 today.
My toes are freezing, my hands are cold, everything's frozen.
It doesn't really that bad, but I guess I'm used to it.
Super freezing outside, but still we have to earn, right?
A cold warning is in effect with Environment Canada, warning people of possible frostbite within minutes if skin is exposed to the elements. There is increased concern for vulnerable populations, including people experiencing homelessness, with Toronto adding additional shelter spaces for those in need of a warm place to go. And it makes you feel thankful for the rain that we're having, right?
Yes.
It's not such a big deal. We can get through some rain.
Exactly, and warm temperatures as well. The good news is Toronto will see -26 with the wind chill tomorrow morning. It does moderate, though, -16 into the afternoon. And then come Sunday, a warm -4 degrees. So, yeah, they just have to get through the next couple of days. But for us, we saw very mild temperatures today, above seasonal, with a high of 11.9 degrees, the seasonal average at 7.2. The overnight low was warmer than our seasonal high of 8.8. And with the rain so far this month, we are in the second last day of January, 112.2 millimeters of rain, this seasonal average at 162.1. So right now we are seeing a break in between systems as we head through the overnight. We will see some showers into tomorrow morning. Some rain returns, continuing through the late morning hours, drying up in the afternoon, a few breaks, but another system pushes its way in late Saturday night into Sunday, and that is when we are going to see more rain. 39 millimeters expected by this time Sunday night. North Vancouver will see 42 millimeters of rain, 29 for Abbotsford, 39 for Surrey, and Squamish will see about 34 degrees. So you will see wet conditions as well for the southern interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Wet and windy for Port Hardy, 10 degrees with winds gusting to about 80 kilometers an hour. Soggy for Campbell River and Comox as well with a high of 9. You'll see periods of rain for the South Island from Tofino right down to Victoria. But look at those warm temperatures between 11 and 14 degrees. For the Sunshine Coast, it will be soggy at 9. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish, 9 degrees. 6 for Whistler, mostly cloudy skies with a few showers. And for us across the lower mainland, we'll see cloudy skies, showers with temperatures between 10 and 12 degrees. Rain returns on Sunday, continuing to Monday. And then look at these temperatures starting on Tuesday, 13 degrees with some sunny breaks. Clears up for Wednesday, 14 degrees. Thursday, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, 13 degrees as well. And the trend continues, 13 degrees on Friday under a mix of sun and cloud. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. And I guess this is what we call false spring. So everybody gets their hopes up because we're seeing double-digit highs, and usually later in February we'll get a cold snap in there too. But I'm hoping the fall spring continues right into spring.
Yeah, I mean, people will be very excited next week with those double-digit temperatures.
Yeah.
But you're right, we usually have, like, sometimes a snowfall in February.
Exactly.
So you never know.
It's not over yet.
All right, thanks, Ann. A gym in Montreal says it has now banned a member for wearing a Nazi symbol. The incident happened last week after another client who confronted the man in a heated exchange. He's now speaking out. CTV's Joe LaFaro reports.
The incident happened here at Gym du Plateau on Montreal Avenue. A member who was working out noticed a disturbing symbol on another man's T-shirt. Brandon, who is only using his first name for privacy reasons, says the man's shirt had a Totenkopf, a Nazi symbol bearing a skull and crossbones, similar to this one. That symbol was on top of the phrase, "Never lose your smile," a neo-Nazi dog whistle. That's when Brandon says he confronted him at the gym's entrance.
He looks at me, he says, "What, are you woke?" And I said, "No, what are you, a Nazi?" And he said, yes. What are you going to do about it? And then he stood up because he was sitting down there with his boots on. And he started approaching me, puffing his chest. And I said, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to fight you, but you can't wear that stuff here. And he said, call the police. And then he left the gym.
Brandon says he immediately reported the incident to the front desk, but he says they didn't take it seriously and decided to write about the experience on social media.
It made me feel first shocked that anybody would feel comfortable wearing that in public.
The gym addressed the issue in a Facebook post on Tuesday, saying it does not tolerate hateful ideologies and that the member in question was told to no longer wear the offensive symbols. But that wasn't enough for Brandon. Our attempts to reach the gym's owner were unsuccessful, including when we went to the gym yesterday. No one was available for an interview, but minutes after we left, Brandon got an email from the gym. In it, they laid out the steps they took to address the situation. That included a suspension. They say camera footage shows a Nazi symbol was on his shirt, and they decided to cancel his membership on Wednesday, the day CTV first reported on it.
I think that businesses need to be proactive with this. If you want to illustrate that you're not a place where hate is accepted, then you need to nip it in the bud. You can't let it grow.
Brandon has since canceled his membership. Joe LaFaro, CTV News.
A once popular Minutemade product is being squeezed out of the market. Also ahead.
I don't have no retirement saving. Everything is gone.
She invested after seeing a fake Elon Musk video on social media. The staggering number of ads on Meta that are scams. Ahead on CTV News at 6.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. Not a soul in sight, with dark clouds looming over soggy Jericho Beach Park on Vancouver's west side this afternoon.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 73 cents to the American dollar. Oil down 21 cents, closing the day at $65.21 a barrel. Gold lost over $600 on the day in a historic sell-off. And look at this, in the wake of Donald Trump picking a new chair for the Federal Reserve, the TSX plunged 1,092 points. The Dow Jones ended the day down 179 points. A sweet treat has come to a bittersweet end as Minutemade discontinues its frozen concentrate. Minutemade's parent company, Coca-Cola, says it will discontinue the frozen juice concentrate in Q1 of the year in Canada and the U.S. The decision was made due to shifting consumer preferences towards more popular juice products. The company says fans of the product will be able to buy the cans in store while inventory lasts. If you're on social media, you'll see ads for all kinds of things, from weight loss products to deals on clothing to investment ideas. But many of these ads are actually scams, and a new investigation finds Meta is earning billions of dollars connected to fraudulent activity. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
We interviewed a woman who lost $1.7 million in a cryptocurrency investment scam. She invested her life savings after seeing a fake Elon Musk video on Facebook.
I don't have no retirement saving. Everything is gone.
There are many products featured on Facebook and Instagram that you should be cautious about buying or even believing they're legitimate.
We found ads and posts that promoted the use of some supplements that are dangerous or even illegal.
Consumer Reports says people have complained their credit card information has been stolen trying to buy products on Instagram that never arrived. And sometimes when they do arrive, they look nothing like what was advertised.
People reached out to us. Yeah, I saw this ad on Facebook. Seemed too good to be true. And guess what? It was.
Reuters says its investigation found that a large number of ads on Meta's social media sites were scams served up to users by Meta's algorithm.
We always knew there were some fraudulent ads there, but they did a deep dive and said that up to 10% of the company's global revenue was coming for ads for scams or for other illegal activity.
According to Reuters, Meta was aware of the problem but undercut efforts to stop it while projecting roughly $16 billion in earnings from scam ads. In a statement to Consumer Reports, Meta said, "We aggressively fight fraud and scams," and said the documents Reuters relied on present a selective view that distorts Meta's approach to fraud. In response to claims that 10% of its revenue was generated by scam ads, Meta says that number was based on a rough estimate, and subsequent audits found many of the ads were not violating its terms and conditions. So what should you do? Short of swearing off social media, take steps to protect yourself, be skeptical, and if an ad looks suspicious, report it. Treat ads for unbelievable deals with extreme caution, as chances are they're scams.
Police in Ontario are investigating a brazen smash and grab that allegedly involved thieves deliberately driving an SUV into a business. A silver SUV was used as a battering ram, smashing through the front of an electronics store yesterday morning. The owner arrived to find shattered glass covering the floor and thousands of dollars worth of electronics gone. The vehicle was also left running inside the store.
We're thinking what's going on, what happened, was somebody drunk? They weren't sure at the beginning. And once they told me that the car was stolen and this was a planned thing.
The business owner says repairs could cost tens of thousands of dollars. Gong Haggis Fat Choi, a Lord of the Rings movie marathon, and Hurry Hard, a chance to learn some curling skills. Your Friday feel-goods are next. Plus, Star Wars love. Adam meets a couple with an unlikely love story inspired by a galaxy far, far away. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
Well, how can you tell that it's still safe for grandparents to drive? Monday on Your Morning Vancouver, what working families should be looking for in elderly parents as they help out with raising grandkids. Plus, BC paramedics prepare for a strike vote, what a potential labor dispute would mean for emergency care. We're back after the weekend. We'll see you Monday morning.
The Grammys will be handed out Sunday in Los Angeles, and there are some big names nominated for this year's top awards.
He a fan, he a flop, they just wanna kumbaya, nah.
Kendrick Lamar leads the field with 9 nominations, including the top 3 awards: album, record, and song of the year. He's joined in those races by Lady Gaga, who tied for the second most nominations with 7. Sabrina Carpenter, Justin Bieber, and Bruno Mars are among the star-studded lineup who will perform. We're getting a first look at the transformations at the center of the upcoming 4-part Beatles biopic. Sony Pictures has released 4 postcards showing each actor as a member of the Fab Four. There's one for Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney, Harris Dickinson as John Lennon, Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, and Joseph Quinn as George Harrison. The Beatles, a 4-film cinematic event, is set to hit theaters in April 2028. After a long recovery, this sea turtle is finally home. Crowds cheered as Piari, the loggerhead sea turtle, took its first steps in the waters off Florida. Piari is a Hindi term that means lovely or beloved. She was found last November after surviving a likely shark attack. Injuries left her with 3 flippers. Piari is now strong enough to be on her own, and she will be tracked to keep tabs on her progress. Oh, that's amazing. She can still swim with only 3 flippers.
Apparently.
Oh, well, they're tracking her, so hopefully she'll be okay. Okay, it is time for Friday Feel Goods, a weekly roundup of unique events happening in Metro Vancouver.
And here are 3 things worth checking out.
This task was appointed to you, and if you do not find a way, no one will.
The one movie marathon to rule them all is happening this Saturday. The Rio Theatre is screening the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the full extended edition starting with the Fellowship of the Ring at 11 a.m. There will be trivia and prizes between the movies. Costumes are encouraged and pajamas are welcome for the long haul. What, they won't be out of there till, what, midnight probably?
Oh my goodness.
Just sleep over?
I was going to say, that's why they're asking for pajamas. You're sleeping over there.
Yeah, definitely. That is a long time to sit.
Hopefully you get the free popcorn refills.
Exactly. Well, if you've ever wanted to try curling, this weekend is your chance. The Vancouver Curling Club is hosting a special Curling Day in Canada session Saturday night from 8:15 to 9:15 p.m. No experience is needed. Instructors will be on the ice to walk you through the basics. Tickets are just $10 and all equipment will be provided. That is very cool. On my list.
Yes.
I've only never tried.
You haven't. I've tried it once, and it was actually a lot of fun. I was terrible, but
you didn't hurry hard, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, exactly.
I just tried to stay on the ice and not fall.
Well, Vancouver's quirkiest cultural mashup returns on Sunday for its 28th year. The Robbie Burns Gung Haggis Fat Choy celebration brings together Scottish and Chinese traditions. So think bagpipes, dragon dances, dim sum, and of course haggis. It all kicks off at the Pink Pearl Chinese Seafood Restaurant on East Hastings. Doors opening there at 5:30 p.m.
I'm sorry. If given a choice between haggis and dim sum,
is it a choice?
I'm going for the dim sum.
Yeah,
well, I'm hoping they give you haggis dim sum.
Yeah.
Some cabbage dumplings.
Not a fan. No, I think I would pass on that. Okay, if you have any events you'd like us to highlight, email your tips to ctvfeelgoods@ctv.ca. We'll get to the Sawatsky sign-off in just a moment, but CTV's Lauren Pullen here. You've got some breaking news, Lauren.
Yeah, we do. Mijung fire crews are battling a house fire that's unfolding in Burnaby tonight. Our videographer arrived on the scene to let us know that flames were shooting out of the back of the house, which is right by Boundary Road. Some of the roads in that area are actually shut down tonight with that firefight still unfolding. We'll have all of the details ahead at 11:30. And some more breaking news. There are new evacuation alerts tonight for the flood fight on Vancouver Island, that local state of emergency declared in the Comox Valley. As we know, there's been some dramatic rescues already, and emergency crews, of course, are keeping close watch on the conditions and preparing for whatever could come next.
It's handy that those sheep had the big horns, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how else would you be able to get them out? Okay, so we'll watch that situation there. Thanks, Lauren. Well, it is a love story that all started with a lightsaber. 3 cats, 2 kids, and 1 wedding later, the couple has found a real-life force. Not in a galaxy far, far away, but right here in BC. Adam explains in tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
A relatively long time ago,
when I was 9 years old,
in a cinema far from far, far away,
I was front row.
Liam Hudson first fell in love with Star Wars.
I've been enamored ever since.
But it wasn't so simple when he first met a friend named Alex.
Back then, I knew him only as the Star Wars nerd. I grabbed the lightsaber from him, and he wasn't very happy.
I was stressed.
Because it was a crucial component of the Kylo Ren costume he'd spent countless hours crafting.
I 100% thought she was going to break it.
But Alex didn't, and when she eventually agreed to go on a date with him, Liam didn't really talk about Star Wars.
He's just always been really kind and a lot of fun and really showed an interest in what I like.
So, despite Alex having zero interest in Star Wars, she did the same and agreed to attend a comic convention wearing a costume he custom made for her.
It was amazing. It was perfect. Us together looked like $1 million.
After they moved in together, they topped their Christmas tree with a Death Star, named their cats Chewbacca, Vader, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and visited the Star Wars section of Disneyland for his 30th birthday. But when it came to wedding planning...
The wedding was pretty normal. I wanted it to be normal.
Now, Liam knew the wedding cake would include a couple characters, but while waiting for his bride to walk down the aisle, Alex surprised him by playing the Star Wars love theme.
The song from Episode 1 where Anakin and Padme are falling in love on Naboo turns on, and I am standing up there looking at Alex come down the aisle. She looks amazing, and my favorite song is playing.
And although Star Wars was his first love, Liam had no doubt why Alex is his forever love.
Is the Force strong within her? Oh yes, it's very strong.
A real-life force of love that's grown to include 2 boys who may remember the names of more Star Wars characters than farm animals, but will never forget to also wield their force for kindness and caring. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Colwood.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
She's a very understanding wife, isn't she?
He found one in a million right there.
Yeah, notice he didn't talk about it on their first date, though. No. You got to ease into that one.
You don't want to do that surprise right away at all. I want to know the kids' names, though. Luke, Han?
Bet on the sun being Luke.
Yeah?
One of the sons being Luke.
Yeah, probably.
Anakin, maybe?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. To finish off the work week, a very good boy enjoying the sunset in White Rock. Thanks, Norma, for sending this beautiful photo in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
The sun. Haven't seen that for a bit.
It's coming next week with warm temperatures.
Nice. All right, sounds good. Thanks for joining us. Good night.